Hi, welcome to Thriving Thursday. Today's topic is anxiety. I don't know about you, but I've been having a lot of conversations with people lately where they are just anxious. There is so much anxiety right now in our culture. So many things could trigger anxiety right now, right? Well, before we get to the topic, I want to remind you to give the thumbs up if you like the video and to make sure and subscribe if you haven't. And if you hit the little bell icon, then you will receive notifications when I put out new videos. I also have my website up, so please go to learntothrivelife.coaching.com and check it out. Thanks, I appreciate it. Well, anxiety. You know, the voices that we listen to, whether they're inside our head or outside of us, have such an impact on our sense of well-being, such an impact on our frame of mind, what's going on cognitively with us, our emotions, our just our overall sense of well-being, right? It affects all of who we are, how we show up in this world, how we respond, how we think, and how we feel. So we have to be careful what we're listening to, who we're listening to, right? By listening, I mean taking in and taking to heart, right? I don't mean just hearing someone say something. I mean what we're really, truly internalizing. So, right now, we have a lot going on, right? It's still COVID. Schools are trying to open up. If you're a college student, who knows whether you're going to be able to stay in your dorms or not. What's going to happen with education this year is up for grabs. If you are a professor, that makes it hard. You may be teaching socially distancing or in person. The same is true of elementary school teachers and high school teachers. We don't know what's going to happen. And the poor teachers have to make sure their classrooms are properly socially distanced and make all those accommodations. And then their children are showing up with face masks and everybody's social distanced. And so parents are anxious too, because what's this going to do to their children? You know, there's just so much to be anxious about as relates to COVID that it hasn't completely finished playing out yet. There's a lot yet to come. Then there is a political election cycle, right? All the heightened rhetoric around politics. And there are a lot of people out there that are saying very outlandish things, very mean-spirited things, and really heightening the rhetoric. The same thing's happening around race and justice issues, right? And then there are natural disasters, the fires in California and potential hurricanes in the Gulf. And there's the economy as it relates to COVID and shutdowns and unemployment rate rising, in addition to the concerns about the actual virus itself and the number of deaths and everything. So there's so much going on that has a great deal of uncertainty wrapped in each of these things, right? We don't know who's going to win the election. We don't know if whoever does win the election, even if it's the person we want, if anything's going to change or be better or worse. We don't know. We don't know about COVID. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy. We don't know exactly what's going to be happening with fires or other natural disasters that even could come into the future, right? So what do we do? We can't control these things. We want to have an element of control. That's one of the reasons why we worry and we plan, because we think at least if we have a plan, maybe we can somehow avoid some of the angst, right? And if we worry and have anxious thoughts about things, then at least we're doing something. We're worrying about it, right? I mean, there's so many ways in which we can be unhealthy in dealing with anxiety, but there are go-tos. Or we just ignore and we want to distract so that we don't have to think about things, right? I mean, there's so many unhealthy ways we can try and deal with anxiety, but I want to give us some healthy ones. In one of my videos, I talked to us about being present. And being present is helpful, because if you're worrying about something in the future, then coming back to the present can help. Or if you're ruminating about something in the past and you're just anxious about things from the past, trying to be present with those who are with you, trying to be present with God, with yourself, with others, is really helpful. I gave us a simple breathing tool. Just simply breathe in, breathe out, right? And do that 3 times, and it should help bring you back to the present. It also calms our central nervous system, and it reduces our heart rate if our heart is racing. So the breathing is good. But sometimes we need to tell ourselves more than just to breathe, right? And so sometimes when I do that breathing exercise, I just say, as I breathe in, I'm breathing in God's love. As I breathe out, I'm breathing out His love to others around me. And that reminds me to be present with those around me too, right? Sometimes I just do Jesus. As I'm breathing, I'm just saying Jesus in my mind. Or I'm even saying Jesus as I breathe, Jesus, right, as I breathe out. Those are helpful. But I want to show you one other that's a bit longer, but I think it's supremely helpful. At least it has been to me. And it comes from Psalm 46. And in the psalmist is the one talking. It's his voice at first, and then it switches over to God's voice. And God says to the writer of the psalm, he says, "Be still and know that I am God." Now that I am harkens back to when Moses asked God who he was supposed to tell Pharaoh had sent him, right? And God said that I am is sending you, right? I am. That means God is, always has been, always will be. There is none other like God. So as we do this little exercise, I want us to remember to breathe in and out as we do it. I'm going to cover the screen so that you don't see me as we say it together. And I want us to do it together. And I want us to remember to try and be present. Be present with God and with ourselves as we do this. And as we go about our day, I want us to remember to try and live in the present, to try and be, right? So I'm going to cover the screen now, and I'm going to ask you to remember to breathe, and I'm going to ask you to repeat after me as I do this psalm, and maybe a little different order, a little different than you might expect, but just hang with me and try and be present with God and with yourself. Please close your eyes. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. I hope this is a helpful tool. Grace and peace to you this day and every day.